Now the interviews keep on coming. I'm very ready now to introduce my next guest on my show. We have the wonderful Allegra joining me. How are we doing today? How's life treating you?
Yeah, good. How are you? Sun's shining, so it's all good.
It does certainly bring a smile to people's faces, doesn't it?
It really does. The weather matters.
It's a privilege to have you on my show. So much wanted to ask you, but we'll just go a bit by bit. Heard so much about you. Where in the world are you at this moment?
I'm in London.
London, and I know you've always been based in London. Is that your home where you're born and bred?
Yes.
Cool, good place to be. And Allegra, that's an intriguing artist's name. How did you come up with that name?
Well, it's actually my given name by my parents. It's my actual name. And it actually means happiness and kind of welcome in Italian. A lot of people think I'm Italian. I wish. But it's also, Allegro in music is also, so it's musical. So it's like my parents knew.
Cool. And how long have you been singing and performing for?
So I was signed when I was 14, professionally, but I've always been singing since I can remember. So yeah.
A very long time then. And you
Yeah.
released a single called Amazing last year. How was that received?
Yeah, really well. Was that last year? That was in 2022.
2022, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, did I miss a year? Um, no, that was, yeah, really well received. And since then I got to work with the amazing Tiesto, and now it's the Alok, so it's all going very great.
Right, we're going to touch on that. So amazing. That was released 2022. Um, Leading up to your current single, that this is what we're here to talk about. Essentially, it's called "Love You Right Back."
Yes.
And as you mentioned, you work with a Brazilian DJ called Alok Petrello.
Yeah, don't ask me. I don't I
And
don't know.
anyway, he's in the top five of worldwide DJs. How did that come about?
So he heard apparently about me when I was lucky enough to work with also an amazing DJ, Tiesto, which I'm sure many people have heard of.
Hmm.
And so he heard about me through there, and my work with Tiesto. And yeah, and I guess we reached out to each other, and he loved the track that I did, wanted to do a remix, and I'm very lucky to have his support. So yeah.
And Love You Right Back is a proper belter. It's a banger, EDM music as well. Ideal for the summer as well.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. So just in time for summer,
Mm. And have you ever been in a scenario where you've heard your track played in a club, or you just walk in and you hear someone playing it on the radio or a car? Has that ever happened?
I haven't, but it's happened to a lot of my friends. I've had so many videos of my friends kind of showing that my song's in the background, and I haven't heard it myself. So I'm yet to wait for that.
Cool. That's a good experience to have, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
And this song as well, club music as well was good. Yeah, I think it was last year. Miracle was by Calvin Harris and Ellie Goulding. This song is on par with that.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's a huge compliment.
And I wanted to ask about the piano lead on this record as well. Really adds spice to the track. How did that come about?
Well, I work with a producer, and the producer that I worked with on this track was with Tim Gordon, which is his last name.
Mm.
And he's very creative. I work with him a lot recently. And we just get in the room in the studio and we come up with chords and what we want the track to perceive. So I guess that's how, the chords came up.
Mm. And electronic dance music, is that the genre of music you grew up with? Who were your like inspirations?
I mean, I would say I'm more pop based. I very much listen to Alicia Keys, Rihanna, Taylor Swift, The Saturdays.
Mm. Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, so I'd say I'm more pop based, and as much as I love doing the dance tracks and remixes, I do want to go more down the route of pop.
Mm.
Okay.
So like late 2000s, 2010s.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
That's good. That's really popular actually with students at the moment, that
Yeah.
era.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's trying to go back to it, to be honest.
We seem to like the main charts seem to be running out of ideas, where when you put on a now CD, it's just like samples of like songs which you grew up on.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's fine. That's leave that as it's may. Just go back to the song as well. Just translating the lyrics. Could this song be about requited love? So in a lot of songs about unrequited love where nobody loves each other. This is a song actually about people loving each other, returning love.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of this song when I made it, it was kind of like I was in a situation, I was kind of interested in someone, but you're kind of more speaking about the potential of a relationship, but they have to kind of make the first move. And you're saying, this is what you could have. So it's a positive song about, having love, as you said.
Mm, mm. But that first move, it's always the hardest one to make, isn't it?
I
But
know exactly.
mm,
Um, but yeah.
cool. Also, there's a music video to this song as well. What was that like? The production and putting it together. Was that a good day filming?
Um, it was a lot of fun, I have to say, and it all came together very, very quickly. Usually, you have a few weeks to prepare, but I think I prepared in kind of 5 days. And this was the first time I did a video where it was just me. I usually have backup dancers or, extras in it, which I've enjoyed very much, but this was solely just me. So it was a bit of pressure, but I enjoyed it so much. And I'm so lucky to have an amazing director and the team behind him. And it was just full of great energy.
And in the video as well, listeners do check it out. Sees you metamorphing into all those amazing costumes. You look incredible, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. No, honestly, I had so much fun. I loved every costume I put on. I mean, everyone loves the cat suit I put on, which I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen it, but it was just very cool. And I was also put into a mirror box, which was very interesting. And
Mm,
I had to be drilled in. So I was locked in a mirror box, but it was very fun. It was
mm.
very cool.
And you mentioned your inspirations over the years. Who have been like your main heroines? Who you've really ultimately looked up to.
I mean, I'd say, I mean, it's no surprise. I love Beyonce because I feel like she has such a great work ethic as an artist. She's the first one in the room, kind of the last one, and everything she does has a message, and that's what's important for her. And same as Taylor Swift,
Mm.
everything has a message, and that's what I would like to have with my fans and my followers. It's more about the messages and your connections rather than, wanting to just be famous.
Excellent. Wanted to ask, have you got any gigs coming up in the pipeline or any nightclub or personal appearances?
I mean, I've been asked this question so much. I'm dying to do it. But currently I'm working on an EP at the minute, which I'm really, really excited about. So right now I'm really much focused on releasing as much material as I can. So eventually I can be performing live and touring.
And you mentioned you work with Tiesto, who's also worked with Ava Max and Tate McRae. You had big hits with Adagio for Strings. What was the reaction like when you heard you were working with him?
I think I screamed down the end of the phone when I found out. Um, I was just like, really? And that was just an incredible experience. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when you give kind of your original song to someone else, because they put their spin on it. But when I got the remix, I do this thing that I like to call a shower test. So I like to get a big speaker and play it out when I'm in the shower and see how it is.
Hmm.
I guess it's the acoustics or something, but honestly, it was such a wonderful experience. I met him, he invited me to one of his shows in Paris, and I had a great evening, and it was just incredible.
And you mentioned some of the artists as well, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, being an up and coming artist. Do you know any other artists who you would like to open a show up for?
Ooh, that's really interesting. I'd love to, I think because we're kind of similar, I'm not saying we're so similar, but Tate McRae would be really interesting to work with and open up for her. I'd love that.
Good choice. And going back to Round and Round, that's one of your other previous releases. What does that song paint the picture of? Tell the story.
I think the idea of it is that, there's obviously someone out there and you're just kind of saying, I know thoughts of me go round and round in your head, and it's kind of like a teasy song again. It's kind of, you're kind of over a relationship and you know that you're popping up in his brain still. So that's kind of what's it about.
And on Spotify, your records have amassed millions upon millions of streams. How lit is that?
I know it really is incredible. And when you hit the first million, you're kind of like, I can't believe it. Because obviously, I've been doing this since I think my first release was when I was 15, and now to see kind of the growth, like from when I was 15 to now where
Mm.
I am, it's just huge and it's just incredible.
And you mentioned you worked in Paris with Tiesto. Where in the world would be your favorite place to perform at?
Oh, my favorite place to perform at. I think I have to say in London, my
Mm,
home my hometown, my home city. I'd love to be there in London performing to people from home.
yeah, you got a good crowd down there. I was down there last night in a venue in Borough, and electric crowd, really positive.
Oh, good. Great.
Would you think about Ibiza at all? Because that's got like club. Um,
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I've been to Ibiza, love it, and I think it would be a lot of fun. So
hmm,
definitely.
hmm. And you mentioned development. How important is finding your true self with your sound and image, getting it right?
I think it's very, very important as an artist because, at the start it's all exciting and you just want to go and you want to go and do everything. But it's really important to take the time and understand what message you want and who you are as a person. I mean, obviously, I started off really young, so you go through all the teenager phases and boys and, work and stuff like that. And just kind of growing up, and you just have to go through that phase, I
Hmm.
think, to understand and be basically taken seriously. Because if you're 14 and coming out with music, people are going to be like, she doesn't really know anything. So I think it's very important.
Yeah, and music was meant to be for you. You've chosen a path. If you didn't do music, would there be anything else you'd be doing right now?
No.
That's a good answer. Good
I
answer.
mean, I don't have to think about it twice. I honestly, I wouldn't know who I am without
Hmm,
music.
that's a good answer. And how do you balance the treadmill of social media? That can get overloading sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it can get very, very, um, as you say, it can get very overwhelming. But I like to think and say that I'm quite an open person, and I love to bring, everyone behind the scenes when I'm on a music video and doing it personally myself. And being really open and connecting with people. It can get overwhelming, but it's part of the industry, and you have
Hmm.
to learn because that's how you connect.
And then hard work as well. You're hard working. I feel like your passion, just interviewing you, definitely hard work does pay off, and it must be rewarding when you see the final results, like now with
Definitely.
your record.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say I'm a perfectionist and I want it to be perfect for everyone else out there to enjoy it. So sometimes I do take my time and I'm very, I listen to the small things and I like to be involved in everything, because at the end of the day, it's my name, it's my music.
Hmm.
And yes, you have a whole team who help you get there, but, if something goes wrong, it's you who's going to get in trouble.
Hmm. And one question, interesting. What were some of the bigger changes you made in your life? Have you had to make any sacrifices to get to where you are now?
I mean, definitely growing up, I mean, it's not a huge thing, but I definitely missed out on socializing on events. I mean, it's not a big thing, but when you're that age, it is a big thing, when you're invited to a party or something like that. And, I care so much about music and I knew that, that's what I wanted to do. And if that meant I can socialize or I had to miss out on things with family, like that's what I was willing to sacrifice. And because I love music.
Hmm. You got to love music, haven't you? Otherwise, you're in the wrong industry.
Exactly.
That's what they say. If you could change anything about this industry, what would it be? Is there anything that you would like to see changed?
I like that question. I think definitely with nowadays, everyone's being more open and body positive, and I think it's just this like persona of beauty. I think, you know, everyone expects to look a certain way, and you know, now it's kind of, it's nice to feel, you know, you're accepted for who you are. And I think slowly but surely we're getting there. But you know, because I remember growing up and I was like, I want to look like this, and I have to look like this to be pretty. And I think, you know, it's nice to see someone who looks like you and you're
Mm,
like, you know, that's beautiful.
cool. And any life mottos you have, like you wake up every day? Is there one saying that you stick to and you know abide to?
When people ask me about advice about going into the music industry, I always say to focus on your own path. You know, nowadays everyone wants to be a singer, everyone wants to achieve their goals, and it can get very distracting to kind of look around and see what everyone else is doing, because you know, there's so many different ways of doing it. But I think you just have to stay true to yourself and your own path, and what you are doing is the correct thing for you.
Mm. Do you find it quite competitive at times, you know, or do you find other people are always competing with each other, trying to outdo each other?
I mean, definitely because of the social media world. I mean, people are releasing music like no tomorrow. I mean, there's always a new song, and back in the day, it wasn't as easy as it is now. So there is a huge, and also people's attention spans are very short. You know, scrolling on social media, TikTok, and everything. So it's quite difficult. But you know, I try to keep going.
That's it. That's the key. And finally, thank you for answering my questions, by the way. There was a lot to go through. Um, where can people follow you on social media and the platforms?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on all social media platforms under Allegra World. You know, it's double L. It's like the allergy medicine, people like to tell me. So it's ALLEGRA and then World. And that's where you can find me.
Well, thank you very much for taking time out to speak to me on the Dance and Radio show and podcast. All for me to do really is just ask you if you'd like to introduce your new track on my show, and we'll get this played out.
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Allegra, and you're gonna listen to my new track by Alok, the remix. Love you right back.
And it's been a pleasure having you on today's show. Thank you very much and take
Thank
care
you
and good
for
luck with
having
this
me.
record.
Thank you.
You're welcome.